But for the moment, I want to take you to Saket Nagri. I want to take you to Ayodhya, a city that can never be defeated, as the name says. And after 500 years, Ayodhya is celebrating Diwali in a different way. Yes, the celebrations have always been there, but there were celebrations in hope, in anticipation. This time, there is celebration because of success that has been achieved. Success that at one point of time looked virtually impossible. And Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has been talking about it pre-2017, how the situation changed post-2017, how situation changed in 2020 when the Shilanyas took place. Prime Minister Narendra Modi travelled to Ayodhya Nagri and laid the foundation stone or the Aadhar Shila for a Divya Bhavya Ram temple at Ayodhya. Then the Pran Pratishtha that took place in January 2024 earlier this year. That was Diwali, that was celebrated once again that time, and Diwali celebrations that are taking place right now. And who better than India Today's Akshita Nandagopal, who is on ground zero, to tell us more about the festivities. And Akshita, I want you to tell us how Diwali is so different this year in Ayodhya compared to the past several years, and as Ayodhya Vasis say, past several generations, decades and 5 centuries.
Just imagine for a moment, Gaurav, that this generation is lucky enough to actually witness this moment. And that's why you see so many tourists who've gathered here. They're saying that after 500 years, we're having an opportunity to celebrate, with many devotees saying that Lord Ram is finally where he belongs. And that's why there's such an air of happiness, of joy, of festivity around here in Ayodhya this time. Since 2017, of course, every single time in Ayodhya and Ramnagari, we've seen this practice of lighting lakhs of diyas. But this time is going to be very different, because as I, walked past every lane, every street of Ayodhya, it's not just, these lakhs of 28 lakh diyas that have been set up along the ghats, but every home, they're setting out diyas to welcome Lord Ram back. So there's a great amount of anticipation for tonight, because it's Deepotsav and you're going to see a mega celebration. I'll just quickly show you what's happening behind me. I'm at Ram Ki Paidi. I've tried to get the best point, the best vantage view here for our viewers to be able to witness the magic of what we're going to see in Ayodhya in just about 30 minutes from now. You're going to see all the diyas that are laid out here along the ghat being lit up. In each of those squares, there's about 250 diyas, and across spanning kilometers, really, you've got these diyas that have been put up right now to ensure that at one point when the announcement is made, they are lit in one go. All the people you see dressed in white, they're volunteers, thousands of whom have been toiling for the last 3 days, driven essentially by their belief in Lord Ram. And they've come here to do what needs to be done to ensure that this is truly a unique, a historic celebration. Now the entire area slowly is lighting up, Gaurav. You're going to see a huge laser show. You're going to see the Ram Katha being played out in front of our eyes, and then all the diyas being lit together in one go. And therefore, very fittingly, considering the historic moment that we're witnessing, a celebration of Lord Ram coming back after 500 years and a Deepavali after 500 years in this manner in Ayodhya, you're going to see a world record also being set here with the 28 lakh diyas being lit in one go, Gaurav. Those images, there's no doubt, is going to be so breathtaking.
It indeed is. It's actually such a beautiful spiritual journey. The first Deepavali that was celebrated, Akshita, as they say in our culture, in our history, in our tradition, was when Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram, Mata Sita, Bhaiya Lakshman, Hanumanji, they all returned to Ayodhya from Lanka after defeating Ravan. That was the time Ayodhya Vasis lit diyas at their homes. That was the first Diwali. And for centuries and centuries and generations, Diwali was celebrated. The Supreme Court also said when Hindus did not have access to the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi, they stood anywhere around they could, but they continued to pray year after year, decade after decade, century after century, but they prayed each day there. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, he spoke of this Divya Bhavya Deepavali at Ayodhya. Listen in.
बोलो सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की, सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की, माता जानकी की, ये जो दीप आपके द्वारा जलाए जाएंगे केवल दीप नहीं है, ये सनातन धर्म का विश्वास है। प्रभु राम की कृपा अवश्य बरसेगी। 500 वर्षों के बाद वे अपने धराधाम पर अपने काज को प्रारंभ करने के लिए अवश्य कृपा बरसाएंगे। आप कार्य करिए, कृपा भगवान की अपने आप बरसने वाली है। और हम सब आभारी हैं प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के। ये डबल इंजन की सरकार जो बोलती है वो करके दिखाती है। अकेले अयोध्या धाम के विकास के लिए, जिस अयोध्या में 2017 के पहले बिजली नहीं मिलती थी, यहां की सड़कों की स्थिति, यहां के घाटों की स्थिति, यहां के मठ और मंदिरों की स्थिति, और जिन लोगों ने राम को ही उपेक्षित कर दिया था और जिन लोगों ने भगवान राम के अस्तित्व पर ही प्रश्न खड़ा किए थे, वे केवल भगवान राम के ही अस्तित्व पर प्रश्न नहीं खड़ा कर रहे थे, वे सनातन धर्म के अस्तित्व पर प्रश्न खड़ा करते थे। वे आपके अस्तित्व पर खड़ा करते थे प्रश्न, वे आपकी विरासत पर प्रश्न खड़ा करते थे। लेकिन कितना सदा सहता है हमारी, सदा सहता ही समझो, लेकिन आपकी सदा सहता विरोधी को कायरता नजर नहीं आनी चाहिए। और इसीलिए मैं कहने के लिए आया हूं आपसे आज, आपने 2017 के बाद जो भी कहा वह अयोध्या के अंदर हो करके रहा है।
So very clearly the sting, Akshita, is in the tail. When you hear Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, he is drawing clear parallels how Ayodhya was ignored politically. It wasn't allowed to develop before 2017. And the distinction is 2014 onwards, you had Prime Minister Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister of the country, but there was a different government in the state. 2017 onwards, it's been Yogi Adityanath and the development that's taken place. So the first Deepotsav, you had 1 lakh diyas, then 3 lakh diyas, then 5 lakh diyas, and now it's come up to 28 lakh diyas. But how has Ayodhya changed? You've reported from Ayodhya in the past. I've reported from Ayodhya in the past. How has Saket Nagari changed in the past so many years, Akshita?
Gaurav, starting off with the fact that, Deepotsav itself has become such a massive event. It's, dragged so many tourists into Ayodhya. I've landed in Ayodhya this morning, and I can tell you that the airport was packed with tourists from across the country, from across the world, all coming to just catch a glimpse of the Deepotsav celebration. So it's become, world-renowned, that you'll have lakhs of diyas lit up along the ghats and people coming together, the spirit of Ayodhya all on display on this very day. So that itself is a huge transformation where people are starting to look at Ayodhya also as a tourist hub, which is very, very important for the development, of course, of any city, of any town. Now, beyond that also, if you talk of the development, I remember coming here during the Pran Pratishtha and being so surprised by the transformation that Ayodhya had undergone, Gaurav, and I'm sure you too, because, we're not just talking about infrastructure projects. We're not just talking about development with regards to, buildings and all of that coming up, infrastructure. It's beyond that. The infrastructure is influenced by our culture, influenced by our tradition. Every wall, every lane, every nook and corner you turn to in Ayodhya tells a story. And it tells a story about the history of Ayodhya, what makes Ayodhya so special, which is so beautiful, because for everyone who now comes to Ayodhya, you take away with you a piece of history, a piece of Indian culture with you, which, you can't ask for anything more than that when you come down to India and come to a beautiful place like Ayodhya. So because of that, you see a huge influx of tourists, and every part of Ayodhya really bleeding what the city stands for. The culture, the asta, all of it is visible in every lane of Ayodhya. I just want to show you again what's happening behind me, because it's starting to light up now, and I think the beauty of Ayodhya is really visible in these moments. This itself is a transformation, Gaurav. You know what Ram Ki Pedi looked like before. versus what it looks like now. You also know of how really the entire area has been transformed with lights, and you have these shows, laser shows, presentations, visual, beautiful depictions of the Ram Katha, all that happens in this very area. So it's a huge, huge attraction for devotees, for tourists. Everyone comes together, takes a piece with them, a learning from Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram with them, and then head back to their home. So there's no better testament really to what Ayodhya stands for than that, which is what the development story of Ayodhya has been. This entire area getting lit up, getting ready. I see every volunteer now standing with candles in their hands to set off the diyas. The moment UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath comes here, the moment all the mahants from 30 plus temples who've been invited gather here, you're going to see that historic moment, Gaurav, of the diyas being lit. And we're going to get you those live images because we know how truly historic, how significant, how symbolic, and how beautiful it's going to look. So we're keeping our cameras peeled on that very moment, Gaurav, where we'll get you that beautiful image of this entire Saryu Ghat lit by lakhs of diyas.
And the transformation has to be seen to be believed. The highways that have come up, the railway station that looks spectacular, the Maharshi Valmiki International Airport that's come up, all of this infrastructure development that's taking place, because this is a civilizational city, Ayodhya. And now they're talking about religious tourism, cultural tourism, and we'll talk about this in greater detail, because it's not just people from across the length and breadth of our country, but people from across Southeast Asia and several other parts of the world who are coming here to reconnect with our roots. And that is so important for a civilization that comes from Bharat. Now, what did Prime Minister Narendra Modi say on the day of the Pran Pratishtha, the 22nd of January 2024? Because these truly are historic moments in the history of our civilization. Whether it's the day of the Pran Pratishtha or the day of the Aadhar Shila of this Divya Bhavya Navya Ram temple at Ayodhya, listen in to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, listen in to Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath.
हमारे रामलला अब टेंट में नहीं रहेंगे। हमारे रामलला अब इस दिव्य मंदिर में रहेंगे। मेरा पक्का विश्वास है, अपार श्रद्धा है कि जो घटित हुआ है, इसकी अनुभूति देश के, विश्व के कोने कोने में राम भक्तों को हो रही होगी। ये क्षण अलौकिक है, ये पल पवित्रतम है। ये माहौल, ये वातावरण, ये ऊर्जा, ये घड़ी प्रभु श्री राम का हम सब पर आशीर्वाद है। ये मंदिर मात्र एक देव मंदिर नहीं है, ये भारत की दृष्टि का, भारत के दर्शन का, भारत के दिग्दर्शन का मंदिर है। ये राम के रूप में राष्ट्र चेतना का मंदिर है। राम भारत की आस्था है, राम भारत का आधार है, राम भारत का विचार है, राम भारत का विधान है, राम भारत की चेतना है, राम भारत का चिंतन है, राम भारत की प्रतिष्ठा है, राम भारत का प्रताप है, राम प्रवाह है, राम प्रभाव है, राम नीति भी है, राम नीति भी है, राम नित्यता भी है, राम निरंतरता भी है, राम विभु है, विशद है, राम व्यापक है, विश्व है, विश्वात्मा है। और इसलिए जब राम की प्रतिष्ठा होती है तो उसका प्रभाव वर्षों या शताब्दियों तक ही नहीं होता, उसका प्रभाव हजारों वर्षों के लिए होता है।
प्रभु आ रहे हैं और 22 जनवरी को आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के ही कर कमलों से प्रभु अपने भव्य मंदिर में विराजमान हो रहे हैं। भाइयों बहनों, 500 वर्षों का इंतजार समाप्त होने जा रहा है। जिस भव्यता के साथ प्रधानमंत्री जी का स्वागत अयोध्या वासियों ने किया है, ये एक नए भारत की नई अयोध्या का दर्शन हम सबको कराता है।
There was a very important line that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when he was addressing the nation from the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Ayodhya, what did he say? He said, Ram Bharat ka aadhar hai. Ram is the foundation of Bharat. And why does that become so important? Keep one thing in mind, whether there is a Ramban in Jammu and Kashmir or a Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu, across the length and breadth of our country, because for those who say Ram was restricted just to Ayodhya or just to Uttar Pradesh, do keep in mind, Ram is the foundation of this civilization from Ladakh to Lakshadweep, from Arunachal Pradesh to Gujarat.